Thank you. The gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Velazquez, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairwoman and Ranking Member. Ms. Dusai, do you think that if these taxi drivers knew about the confession of judgment practice and that their entire accounts could be drained, they would have still taken out these taxi medallions loans?
I think many would not have.
Thank you. Commissioner Chopra.
Confessions of judgment, just for background, have actually been banned under the FTC credit practices rules for many, many years. Those rules, though, do not cover loans to small businesses. So the fact that confessions of judgment are being used are, especially for small individual businesses, including taxi drivers, is concerning.
Thank you. Ms. Kunoff, in response to the predatory lending practices against New York taxi drivers and the series of Bloomberg articles that ran last year, I have introduced H.R. 3490, the Small Business Lending Fairness Act, which will prohibit confessions of judgment at the federal level in commercial lending practices. Can you explain why this is something we need to implement at the federal level?
Yes, thank you for your question. As we've been discussing, many important consumer protections, either protections from predatory lending practices and also predatory collection practices, don't exist for small businesses. So this bill would be a step in the right direction to try to bring these small businesses under those same types of protections that we provide for consumers, especially small businesses that look a lot like consumers because they're also particularly vulnerable.
Ms. Dusai?
Yes, I would absolutely agree with that.
Mr. Chopra, the Federal Truth in Lending Act requires transparent disclosures in consumer finance, but does not apply to small businesses. I am currently working on legislation that will expand this coverage. How would TILA coverage to small businesses enable them to make fully informed comparisons on their financing options?
Yeah, small business borrowers, particularly the smallest ones, our entrepreneurs, they would hugely benefit from some of the same protections that consumers enjoy as well.
And Ms. Dusai, I know that Chairman Levin in New York City Council has been working with the industry. Have there been any resolution to your case?
No, and I'm also a member of the City Council's Medallion Task Force. I mean, we need to address the predatory lending practices, but to be honest with you, the #1 concern for the 6,000 owner-driver families is to have the actual debt restructured. It's on average $600,000, but the real market value when hedge funds are buying off foreclosed medallions is closer to $150,000. We want to see the current loans that the owner-driver families are under to be restructured to that amount. And so then their monthly mortgages, which right now average $3,500, could be reduced to even $900. With that reduction, they would no longer be in an annual debt of $25,000 that they find themselves in today.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I yield back.